ladies and gentlemen. It's another episode 88. Wow, that's crazy. For those of you listening and watching, we thank you very much for your support. Quick reminder: subscribe, like. The likes help us a lot, and turn on notifications because every week there's a new episode and potentially more content coming soon. That being said, uh, on the show today we have a very, 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 very special guest. This young lady full of talent, intelligence, and beauty. I like to tell my friends that she's the one that got away. I think of those days of dancing under the moonlight and just gleefully laughing with joy. But in all seriousness, very good friend of mine. It's been a long time since I've seen her physically, but through incredible technology, she's finally making an appearance on the show, and I'm so glad to have her on here. And if you can give a virtual round of applause for Amanda. Yeah, I should add like claps. Yeah, I should add claps on. I'm like, yeah.
I love
Oh,
all my fans. Thank you.
yes, yes. Welcome to another episode. Oh, I didn't even do the part. I always go like this. Welcome to another episode of Gas Potatoes. Yeah, I just did it. But yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you? How you been?
I'm good. I've been working my behind off, literally and everything, personally, professionally. So I feel tired, but I don't feel stagnant. So
Yeah, I'm
that's
good.
all that we can hope for.
No, yeah, and for those of you watching also, and I warned Amanda ahead of time, if you see me yawning profusely or kind of like looking tired or drowsy, it's not that I'm bored. Amanda's a very fascinating character full of amazingness. I just got my first dose for the vaccine today. So, for those of you listening, if you have access to it, go get vaccinated if you can. Wear your mask as always. And just be safe, for those around you. Moving on. It's been a while. I mean, the last time we spoke, it was on my way to get a haircut, but it's like rather
The day
short
before your
conversation.
birthday.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. You remember? Okay. 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 Um, but I think the last time we ever spoke like in person was.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, it was. I think it was in Syracuse. I think when I left, or like when the,
It
when the
might have
semester.
been 5 years now.
It's insane.
Like that's crazy. Obviously, we FaceTimes, but like
Yeah.
in person, yeah, because I am coming up next month. It'll be 3 years since I graduated. So, and then you left the end of sophomore. So, yeah,
That's wild.
2016. Wow, 5 years. But you know what? Listen, like we're still friends. That's like the
Yeah.
best part about it.
Yeah. No. And it's so crazy because when you say like 5 years, I'm like, dang, dude, has it really been that long? And are we just really old now, young adults, or actually full grown,
I
full
say
adults?
that I am fruitful. I'm young, I'm
Hmm.
fruitful. I don't feel old. You can't tell me I'm old, but the way that I want to make more money, I know I'm old. And I feel like I'm like, all right, I'm getting a little too old for this
Yeah.
not paying what I'm worth kind of thing. Like I feel like that's how I'm gonna tell my age.
No, yeah. I think in reference to that, what you just said, in terms of making money and whatnot, I think I'm still about maybe in the first or second grade. Uh, Most adults would call me bum or whatever, but it's okay. I'm making moves here and there. I'm making moves here and there. But yeah, I want to get to the nitty and gritty first. I want to get, I want to see, test your knowledge, test your history knowledge. Or really just get your point of view because I told you, I kind of have a pretty vivid memory as to when I first met you. But do
Yeah.
you remember your how would I phrase it? The first impression I gave off to you when we first met.
I remember like because we met audition day.
Hmm.
And I remember I was like, oh, look at this person, like literally is just here at the same time as me. And I'm like, honestly, all I kept thinking, I was like, I saw you. And I'm like, okay, like we're all on the same side of the gym, like nobody's going over there, like cool. So, and I honestly think it might have been the first time I had ever been in that gym, like because I worked out at the other gyms, like at
Mhm.
Ernie, at Marion,
Yeah.
and I'm like trying to find the place, and then I saw you again. So I guess my first impression was my second impression, and I was like, oh no, he knows what I'm looking for, and he's making eye contact with me, and like I have no choice. I have no choice but to go into this room right now because I feel like I'm gonna hurt his feelings if I leave.
Wow.
I'm
What?
like, because I was just like, like when you're going somewhere and then like you get there and somebody looks at you and they're like, so you're gonna come in? And you're like, no. Like, I was just like, I was so nervous. And then
Yeah.
I saw you and I was like, crap, I saw him twice. Like, he knows what I'm here for. And if I don't go in, I'm gonna look like, blank out pussy. And I was just like, oh, I was like, he seems cool. Like, whatever, he's here. Like, he must be a dancer too, right? I'm like, what
Yeah.
other reason would he be in this area? And I just remember being like, yeah, I don't know who this person is, but I hope, hope that they're nice because I was so like not a kind of person that wanted to leave any bad impression, and I still don't, but like I just was like trying to join this team to make friends. So I didn't know if you were like, I can't, because I can't remember what you were wearing, but I don't know if I knew that you were on the team already or not. But I just remember going like, crap, he saw me, I got to do it. If you
Yeah.
never ran into me when I got to the gym, I probably
Interesting.
would have walked right back out and just been like, all right, so what am I
Wow.
gonna do for the rest of my day? Because
Interesting.
that's how shameful I can become. Knowing that somebody saw me go
Yeah.
and not try out, like it was too much for me. It was too much because I don't like
Yeah.
disappointments. I was like, I kind of saw your face and I'm like, I think he's like, I was like, I think he's on the team because he's like, oh, like somebody's here. And I was just like I hate disappointing people. So if it wasn't for you, legitimately
Mhm.
seeing me on the other side of like the gym where you enter, like I would have left. I would have just been like, I walked there, I tried, not for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, but I was just like, I'm caught red-handed. I got to do it.
Yeah. See, people, I'm telling you, the impact I leave on people's lives, like it's just
Exactly.
there's no doubt. Like people are like you talk about yourself. I'm just a great guy. Like think about it. I'm just a great I leave amazing impacts on people. Like I just positivity energy, flowing out of me. But it's funny that you mentioned it because I remember this is how I remember going down. Exactly because originally the tryouts. So that year, yeah, I was already on the team, and then we were kind of leading tryouts. Originally, they were supposed to be in the like on the main side of the gym, like where like all the freaking equipment is at, and in the basement as well down there.
Yeah.
That was so it was supposed to be I think in the boxing room, whatever downstairs. But I think
Oh wow.
I put
Fancy.
I put oh I was walking I went over there to put like a paper with tape like oh tryouts or outlaw tryouts have been moved to the other side. I think or Ernie. I forgot what the rooms are called. But the bigger room, away on the other side. And I remember
Yeah.
coming up, I walked out, and then and then I saw you walking past me, and then I'm not really one to like make eye contact. I kind of just like dart down. But in those days, those dance team tryouts, for some reason I was feeling uber confident. And I saw you and I made eye contact. I was like, hey, what's up, this cutie, just walking through. Okay. So I remember we just kind of did like, oh, hey, like how's it going? But I don't know, maybe my mind is just trying to
I
replace.
definitely feel like we acknowledge each other
Yeah, we
though, because
definitely did.
like if you were just somebody I randomly saw, like I wouldn't care, like or I wouldn't remember you. So I definitely feel like in one way or another,
Yeah.
whether it was a head nod, like oh it was good or something like that. Like we definitely acknowledge each
No,
other.
for sure. And the thing is too, I remember what was it? Oh, because I always had this thing where depending on wardrobe, you can kind of tell like, at least in those days, it was either like who's a dancer or not, at least on campus. So I remember you walked past. I don't know if maybe I'm wrong with the jacket, but I remember you had a jacket. It was a pullover jacket. It was like a windbreaker, and it was like blue or yellow or something like
Yes,
that.
it was blue. It was just
Okay, okay,
plain blue. And I
okay.
actually got it from, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Syracuse thrift store on Marshall. And
In
it was just blue and it had like white and blue like wrists, the thing that's
yeah,
tight or something like that. Yep. And I had like I was just very like leggings, t-shirt, and that, because
Yeah,
that's what I like to dance in. And I
dancer.
was like, I gotta go
Yeah,
comfy. Like, you know what I mean? Like some people,
yeah,
I have friends like full on jeans and all that stuff. And I'm like, you're bugging. Like, I gotta
yeah.
be
No.
comfortable. I gotta
Hmm.
feel like good. And that's how I felt good.
And and it's crazy because I always joke that I have a memory for things that may or may not be useful. Like I don't know how
Same.
that's gonna help me in life, but I remember vividly. It was like a blue jacket. And I remember walking past and we acknowledged each other. You kept going. I was like, hey, that's a kid, whatever. I just, taking myself. But then in my head, I was like, oh, maybe she's going to tryouts. And I was going to go back and tell you, but I was like, nah, I don't. If she's not, then if she is, and I don't tell her, she'll read the sign. And if she isn't,
I was
then
lost.
well, yeah, if she isn't, then I save myself some embarrassment. Be like, hey, you trying to dance or whatever? But so I remember walking up, and I felt relieved because then I saw you walk into the dance space. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. She's here to try out. Um, but the thing is, like, I always assume, right, that if you're trying out, you have some type of experience. But like
Yeah.
when we like got in it and then you were doing the choreo like that we taught you guys, I was like, yes, for sure. Easy. Like easy pick. Like there's no like, oh, like debating because I remember we had watched videos and stuff like the main team. And but I remember you were definite like, oh, easy. Like there's no debate. There's no like, oh, I don't know. We'll see. I was like, yeah, she's on the team. That is one thing I vividly remember for sure. I'll never forget that day.
I was still so nervous. I'm like, what if they don't like me?
That's funny you said it because I felt the exact same way when I first tried out. Cause like my thing was I felt everybody knew each other already. And I was like, damn, like I'm just it. And I joked about it with in the last episode, I think when Hector was on, and I said like, yo, I'm really just like this little fat kid from LA trying to hang out with these like cool East Coast kids, like hip hop, whatever. I was like, I'm gonna try out, I guess, but it worked out.
You
And
are
then
the cool West Coast kid, though.
I don't like to brag. I like to be I like to stay humble a
Let's
little
just
bit,
show love a little bit. Just a little bit.
but in that day, now I'm starting to remember again. That day, I also remember after trial or even before trials. I think it was before anything. Um, I was in that moment. I was really trying to push myself. So I'm like, okay, if I'm gonna be some type of leader, I gotta go up to people and talk. So I remember you were kind of like stretching or warming up, and in my head, I was like, oh, she's for sure is a dancer because everybody else who was just like they were casuals, they were talking, kind of hanging out, but you were like
Yeah.
getting. I was like, okay, she knows. Okay, she knows what's up. Yeah, okay. So I remember I went up though, and then you spoke to me, and then I forgot what I asked you, but I remember you mentioned something about like playing chess, and then like
Yeah.
the Elliot videos or something like, but enough to like my mind was like, yo, we need this like kid on the team. Like this is so cool. Like this individual is the coolest person I met so far. But I remember that moment for sure. Like that whole chain of events is still stuck in my brain.
Yeah.
That's
I remember, I remember because Chanel tried out
that's right.
um
Yeah.
with me that day, and so did Brandon, and I remember Bree was there. Um, you were there. I remember Aminata, I believe I'm
Mm.
getting her name right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I remember that day because my roommate, my roommate actually came and was like banging out. I lived in Haven, so and the quads there were four separate rooms. So
Yeah.
she came like knocking on my door and was like, "Get up." And I was like, "For what?" And she's like, "It's tryouts. You didn't go yesterday, so you need to go today." And though we're actually not friends anymore, if she didn't do that, you know,
Yeah. Would
I
have
wouldn't
never.
have
Yeah.
the 2 years without her as good as I did. So I look at it
Yeah.
like that. Like I was just so scared to get out of my comfort zone, but I'm happy I did it.
Yeah, and that's interesting because like and I guess because it kind of intertwined like with the last conversation I had in the last episode, because there's this thing of like kind of like essentially feeling nervous and scared, right? Especially when it's in a different environment. Um, but if I'm assuming correctly, right? But I remember, I'm sure you had a prior experience, right, in terms of like within the dance community prior to that.
Yeah, I was
So,
professional since I was 13, but I started dancing when I was 10. So it
bro.
was, and I danced in the summers.
Okay,
So
yeah, yeah.
even like, after, like, I would go back to my company in the summer, dance, perform, stuff like that. But it was just, these are people that I don't know. And it
I
wasn't so
see.
much that I was scared of feeling like they're gonna not like my dancing ability. It was like they're just not gonna like me, you
Mm,
know, because, not to play it down, but it's like the environment that I'm used to, like that vigorousness that I'm used to. It was just like I wasn't so much scared about the like my ability to do the
yeah,
choreo or to do something like that. It was more so like I'm used to also having family while I'm training my
got it.
ass off
Hmm.
and pushing myself and doing salsa, bachata, merengue, hip hop, locking this, like all of that, performing, traveling. In high school, I was practicing 4 to 5 days a week, going to school, tutoring. Like I was tired, I was exhausted. Um, and plus shows if we went away to like Pennsylvania,
Hmm.
or there were times where I had to miss school because we were on the news, and then that filming starts at 6 a.m. and it was just like I was very used to that, but I just kept thinking like I haven't been able to really find my niche of people yet, and
I
I was just
see.
really scared that I had low expectations, but somehow was going to be disappointed that I wouldn't be what they or what you guys at the time were
Yeah.
looking for.
And
And
that's
no, nobody I knew
yeah.
like was in the audition room,
Oh,
and I
okay.
didn't know that many people. Like I knew a lot of people. Like I knew of a lot of people, but I didn't know many people. Like I would chit chat here and there, but I wasn't super sociable. Like, so I was
Got
just so nervous. And I remember everybody's like talking in the beginning, and I'm just stretching, and I'm like, yo, get me out of here.
it. Yo,
I was so scared.
that's wild because I again now hearing this for some reason I would have assumed that like you're like set. Like there was no like, I got it. Like, oh no, I'm feeling no. Like looking like when I saw you stretching, I'm like, oh, she's locked in. Like there's no like, I don't care about
Yeah,
like
that's
anybody.
routine for me. You know what I mean? Like I get to practice, I put
Yeah.
my shit down, I start stretching, we get up and we do work. Like there is no time for play when you're a
Mm,
professional. So in terms of move wise and stuff like that, I was like, I don't know if I look good. I never feel like I look good when I'm dancing.
hmm.
But I was like, I definitely like I tried out for races and I had God on, and I basically became like a honorary member throughout my college experience. But
Yeah.
I like I didn't, accept my like membership or however you want to
Yeah.
say it. But I definitely like I was confident going into a situation about my skills, but who I am makes me a little nervous because I am not for everybody, and that's
Yeah.
okay. But
That's
it's
wild. Talk
nerve-wracking.
talk about stealing a player from another team. An off-season trade. We made that happen. I mean, I don't want to say it was all me, but talk about general manager skills, in terms of recruitment. And I don't know who am I, I'm just a cool guy. But that's crazy because like it's crazy how like there works like a chain of events. Like if this didn't happen, that didn't happen, like this moment would not have occurred ever, or at least not maybe not as quickly as one would have imagined. But it brings to mind like so now I want to kind of push the timeline a bit in that case because
Mhm.
now it pushes me to the point like initially, at least from my point of view, I wouldn't say that we were really close in the beginning. If anything, it felt more of like just teammates, like, oh, hey, how you doing, like,
Yeah.
come welcome to practice, blah blah blah. So I wanted to ask you because my memory kind of
Well, I
gets
didn't
blurred.
get you a
Oh,
birthday cake, so we were getting closer as time.
oh, okay, okay,
I
okay,
was
okay.
there. I was there when we sang you happy birthday. I had
Okay.
those videos. So, we worked our way there, but
So,
definitely the first month and a half was
I
very like,
see. So
mm,
was that the birthday? So was that before or after the library when like
it
we
was
first?
after. It was
Oh,
after.
okay,
It was
okay. I
about a week
see.
after. Yeah.
I see. Okay, so that's okay. That's what I was curious about because now, okay, now that timeline makes sense because I remember that day. I think. Oh no, were you guys leaving? Because I remember I think it was you and Hector, no, or was it?
Yes, we were leaving.
I see. Okay,
And no, 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 you were
I was
leaving.
leaving, right?
We had just got off the bus or we walked there, however, whatever we were doing.
Yeah.
Because That's also so strange to me because I'm trying to think if like Hector and I were that close. And I'm like, I don't think we were, but we also did hang out with a lot of the same people. And
Hmm.
he was on Raices at the time, I believe. Because I know he was on like the next semester. So I don't remember if he was doing both, but we hung out with a lot of the same people. And somehow we were going to the library and it was like 7 at night or something like that.
Yeah.
And you were leaving and we were on wow, what do you call that? Whatever. Like the main on not Comstock or wow, I don't know.
I don't.
The
I'm.
main steps like going down to
Oh
Bird.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
blanking.
I know what you're
Yeah,
talking
and
about.
I saw
Yeah,
and we saw and we were just like, no, you don't want to leave. You want to come hang out with
that's
us.
right.
And then we
You
literally
did say
got
that.
the table in the
Yep.
corner and us three for the whole night just hung out. I have like maybe one or two pictures of like Hector, you and I that day. So that's how I remember.
It's
And
crazy.
then the next like practice, I think we were going, us three were like, yo, like we hit it off. Like this
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
awesome. Like we really, like, because I know that we would talk and we'd hang out because Outlaws started to go out to like all these parties together. So we would like pregame, but it was never really like Los Vatos kind of thing. Like it was never really
Oh
like
yeah.
that. So I remember Jay being like, what are you guys doing? Like on
That's
the bus.
right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And we are just like, so should we let him in? Like,
That's
like
right.
we're like,
Yeah, yeah.
three's a crowd already. Like, do we
Yeah, I
really want
remember
to
that
add
one.
in this extra person? And it was just like, okay, like we can try. Like, I guess we can try. And from there, it's like history. But if you never came up that way because you were gonna go to the bus and Hector and I saw you, like it literally is all chance. Like I just think like 1 minute,
Yeah. That's
like
yeah, you're
literally we
right.
could, or we went a different way and like went to
Yeah.
Bird from the back. Like it's just that's definitely like you were definitely leaving and you were just like, for somebody that never did work in college, you
Like, whoa, whoa,
spent a lot
whoa,
of time in the
whoa.
library.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, we're not slandering people here. Positivity, energy, positive energy. That's what we're feeling.
Yeah, you had a positively void experience in college of
Yes,
doing
I
work.
did. College was somewhat of a blur for the right
But it was
reasons,
one
but
of the one of the best like Bird nights ever.
no, yeah.
I don't even think I got that much done. Like,
No, yeah. It's funny because and then that's what kind of leads me to my next question because for a while I always felt so bad that I mean, yeah, I would say what it was maybe not 2 years, right? It was more of like house like in terms of how close we got, how like what 5 6 months of just us be like actually being like a group like or like that friend group. I always felt bad because I was like, yo, this is cool. Like I finally found like my niche. Like this is my circle. And as soon as it happens, I was like, yeah, guys, I'm not coming back to a freaking school or at least to Syracuse. And I always wonder what was that like? Because and like I said, I've always felt I was like, damn, like I wish I could be there. Outlaws was still going. It had I felt like the momentum was like there, like we set it off really, and I was like, damn,
yeah.
I can't be there to appreciate it with my homies out there. So I mean, what was that like? Losing the most
Honestly,
essential
like
piece, in a team.
I was angry. Like I was angry. I was upset
Yeah,
because I felt the same way. Like I kind of felt I like didn't understand really why it got to that point that it did, but that was just because I guess like I found my way to ignore a bunch of stuff and just keep going. And I was upset. I was sad, honestly. Like I remember talking to Jay or Hector or both of them, and I was just like I was just so mad at you because I was just like, what the heck? Because I felt like that was basically a catalyst for a whole bunch of other things that happened.
yeah,
And then like you weren't gonna be there. And then I had decided a week before like the deadline for study abroad to go abroad because I kept feeling like a bunch of people that I knew that I was friends with, they graduated. A bunch of people that I was friends with, I wasn't friends with anymore. And then it just kind of felt like, okay, like what's the point? Like I was
Mhm.
like, next semester is not going to be as fun. Like if I'm not going to have them, because I really did that, especially those last like 5, 6 weeks of college, like that semester leaned on you guys. So it just kind of sucked because it was just like, and we always would say it like, oh, we wish that like we wish that Mambo was here because we never really called you by your
Oh
first
yeah,
name.
that's
So we're like, oh, we wish that Mambo was here. Like, we wish that Barry was here. Like, you know what I mean? And it's just like, it was hard because it's also like for me, it's like I wanted just to do anything to like just keep like be selfish enough to like have you around. But I felt again like it was kind of it's bittersweet because at the same time,
Mhm.
it's like that really does happen. Like, you know what I mean? I guess that was my first real experience. Like you always think that you can handle anything that gets thrown at you and
Mhm.
like sometimes you can't and like that happened to me the following year, not the next semester but the following year, where it kind of just felt like okay, maybe now it's my turn to like
Yeah.
go through my stuff and like kind of have that realization that you have to get your shit together. But it sucked. Like, but I cherish, like, I feel like the time that we spent as a group, like we really spent like every day together. And it feels like it was like 5 years where like the 5 years that we haven't seen each other, like those memories feel like I have 5 years
Mhm.
of memories in person. And like that's the best thing ever, I guess. Like that's how I feel. It sucks because I'm not good at like losing friends, like physically, if they're not around me, like I'm definitely more of a quality time kind of person. But I was just like, you know what, like I'm not gonna let this just like shrivel and die, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna do what I need to because we all need our people. And it's just like that got me out of my shell, that semester. And it was just like that's a way for me to continue to like grow and kind of bring more people into my life and kind of get more
Yeah.
comfortable, not always being like the hardcore, like New York, East Harlem chick, you know what I mean? Like I don't
Yeah,
need
yeah.
nobody. Like, nah, I need people. I need
Yeah,
people
yeah.
for sure.
No, and it's crazy because I feel like the way things, at least from my perspective, the way things kind of played out was like kind of like a boy band or like a pop group breaking, like coming apart. Because like I left, for personal reasons. I had to leave the group, and then
Then
I know,
Jay
yeah,
graduated
Jay
and then
finished. He went
Hector
solo.
went on to do his own life.
Yeah, yeah. And then, well, that's because I know. Well, Hector really planted the seed in terms of like wanting to ask this question, and now this is Hector speaking now. So he wanted to know
Okay.
what.
Tell him he
Be,
could text
okay. Oh, well, that's it's fascinating being the, but it's something I'll talk to you after we finish recording.
me.
But he wants to know what was it like hanging out with, because as we slowly kind of disbanded and went our own paths. Well, Hector was like the
Hmm.
last one with you, right? And at least
Yeah.
yeah, part of the group. So he wants to know what was it like from your perspective that last semester with Hector.
Honestly, I wanted like him to be around me more, but I also understood that like it wasn't gonna be like that. Like, he was figuring his stuff out
Yeah.
and it was just like, what the hell, like be a better friend. But it was
Interesting.
also like, dang, like we made it here.
Yeah.
Cause he would always like, he's not gonna graduate or he's not gonna do this. I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, yes, you are.
Mhm.
Because if I have to drag your ass to the finish line myself, we are doing this, right? Like we are
Yeah.
doing this together. It's been 2 years. Like we're doing this together. Like there was no if, ands, or buts about it. I do wish though, like there were times definitely last semester of senior year that it was just like I'm here, right? Like I'm here,
Yeah.
use me, be my friend, like um but I guess that was like a good setting or like setup for how real life is. And
Hmm.
I just, I remember I was so mad when he didn't want to be on Outlaws, and I was just like, go, go do bad things to yourself, because I was really pissed because I
Yeah.
felt like he was my last remaining rock and
Hmm.
he didn't want to be my rock. And I was just so upset. And I was like, I don't have the sanity to do this alone,
Hmm.
because out of all the 6 people that I had besides him, none of them were there. He was the only one. So it was kind of
Yeah.
like I definitely wanted to lean on him more. but I knew that we each had like our own stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
But I do wish that I could have been able to like keep him really close longer, because there would be times where, if we could hang out even for like 25 minutes or like an hour or something like that, like throughout senior year, I'd be like, I gotta take it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, I just wish that I could have spent more time with him, because I can always be very honest with you guys, like you three especially. So it kind of was just like, I need you, like I need,
Yeah.
and I want to be there for him too. And it kind of felt like he didn't want me to. And so just kind of person that I am, the kind of friend that I am, I just wanted to like hit him over the head. But I'm like, you have to give people their space to blossom however they want. But I just tried to make sure that he knew, like, I
Yeah.
can still be your friend. Like,
Interesting. Interesting. And I'll tell you after why that's interesting. Well, I hope it's funny because well, no, I'll just tell you after. I'll tell you after that. But speaking, okay, so there's a lot I want to know because I feel like we've kind of discussed this way beforehand, but I want you to jog my memory because it's almost like me kind of opening up and being like, damn, I feel so bad because I remember at one point when it came to Outlaws, like obviously we had the momentum going, people, everybody pretty much knew about us, uh, and we were like ready to take the next step, be like, oh, we do performances, but what about videos and this and that, blah blah blah. And I remember originally and we spoke to Jake. I remember I'll never forget this meeting because we were like, yo, the three of us could lead this in terms of you, me, and Hector. Like we bring something different to the table.
yeah.
As like the trifecta, like Trinity, we could do this. And then I was like, I'm not going back, guys. I'm so sorry. And then I remember you're like, yeah, guys, I'm going abroad. And then I remember I asked Hector. Hector's probably like, yeah, no, Outlaws. I don't think I'm gonna do that anymore. So it's crazy that all that
Yeah, I
happened.
was so mad about that.
So I wanted to ask you again, jog my memory for those, because I've mentioned Outlaws many, many, many times on this show. I think specifically in the beginning, and then when we've asked people who've known me and who are on the team. But I want to ask you, well, first off, how much longer were you in Outlaws before you finally graduated?
The only semester I wasn't was when I was abroad, but I was still like kind of involved.
Yeah.
So junior year, fall semester, and then all of senior year, plus when I joined sophomore year, spring
Yeah.
semester. So it was just that one spring 2017 that I wasn't on Outlaws, but I wasn't on because I wasn't physically there, but I was still
Hmm.
involved. I was still in the group meets. I was still talking to everybody. I was still like helping out with stuff and whatnot. So yeah, I was on for a total of 4 semesters
I see.
physically.
Okay. So, and then of those four, you were leading in how many of those semesters? Like in the end, or was it just in
3 of
between?
them.
Three of them? Okay.
No, it was junior. I became co-chair junior year. And then actually, I don't even know that spring semester that I did go abroad junior
Yeah.
year, if there was like a co-chair in my oh, I think it was Ness and Maya or something like that.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, it was like, give me my team back.
Yeah. It was weird, right?
And so then senior year, I was co-chair the whole year. But I did blow up and I did quit on our very last performance. I think it was a month out of
I remember you
graduation,
did tell me
because
that. Yeah.
I was fed up of feeling like I was being taken advantage of.
Hmm.
Um, and I waited to the last performance because that's how much of like a team player I
Yeah.
am. It happened that day,
Ah,
and I
okay.
cried like I don't just cry in front of everybody. Like
Hmm.
I cried. I literally cried, and I was just so fed up. And like I knew that some of them understood, but I definitely did feel a lot of erasure
Yeah.
after I left in like that last month. And it was kind of just like, you guys, like, yeah, because you always want a pat on the back, right? Like, no,
Yeah.
you can't
Naturally.
say you
Yeah.
don't want recognition, right? And it
Hmm.
was just like, I'm trying to graduate college, because at the time there was only maybe 3 or 4 of us that were seniors, and everybody else was a freshman, a sophomore, a junior.
Yeah.
Like when you go into your senior year, and you're in a major that is so demanding like mine was, like, I was just working and going to school and doing outlaws, and I had like my personal life, all these things, and I definitely did not feel like they understood how much time and effort I put in just to making outlaws run. Like,
Yeah.
because it's not easy. It's really
It's
not
not.
easy
Yeah.
to have something stay alive, especially on Syracuse campus that has so much. When you're on it, and I've heard, I have a lot of people that went to like very small liberal arts colleges and things like that. And it's when you're out of college, not that it's so much easier, but like you have such limited resources, or not even resources, but so, like limited um just extracurricular activities,
Yeah.
that when there is one, they really put in the effort to keep it alive. Versus Syracuse, like you'll see things come and go. Like
Yeah.
it's just it was being co-chair was not
Yeah.
easy at all.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Like especially that last semester, I think that was the hardest
Mm,
semester. I don't even think I even performed. That's how stressed I was, because I didn't have the patience to try to do both, be a
hmm.
performer, and be a dancer, be a member, and then be co-chair.
Yeah. It's
And
tough.
people didn't really like that I made that executive decision and distinction. And it was just like, well, somebody needs to tell you guys what
Mm.
you look like, because you don't know. Like I was definitely in full blown like
Yes.
professional mode by senior year, because I was trying to get everything else in my life together, and I was just
Hmm.
like, yeah, I look a hot mess right now. I'm not doing this. And so I just spent more time, literally trying to graduate and making sure that when they
Yeah.
perform, they look good. They have their gear, and we have our flyers, and we have our practice rooms, and we have our practice times. And it's literally like a whole nother job.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, again, I feel it to an extent because there was a point where I was trying to balance both, but then there was a period where I just put everything in Outlaws. So I was like, you know what, I was gonna put my energy in this. But I understand what you mean, where it's like you want to make it work, especially because if you didn't want to, then you just give it to somebody else. When you're fighting for that position, you're like, I'm here. Let's do something. Like, oh my gosh, that's why I've told Hector. I told Jay a while back. I don't know if you remember Chase. He was there for a little bit just to visit sometimes.
Yeah,
I've
I
told
think I met.
Bree at times. I'm like, that junior year was it, because I remember that when was put into the position of like you got to lead. I'm like, how do I do that? I guess I'll do it. I'll try. And I know I was not a great leader, because I look at it now. I'm like, there's so many things I could have handled differently. Like in times where I could have been like, all right, let me take a step back. In times I was like, I should have put my foot down. So I was like, I was ready. I was like,
And that's
and
how you know you have potential.
yeah, and that's the thing, and so that's what sucked even more, because I got it. I think I figured it out now, but now I'm gonna have the backing of like Amanda, who's like pro, like she's for sure the best, like the biggest and best pro in the group out of like. There's no like, well, I danced for 10 years in front of my mirror. Like, no, that doesn't count. That doesn't count in comparison to this person's experience. But yeah, that's the one thing I guess I'll say regret, because I don't I'll reminisce and think about like, damn, that sucks. But it is one thing that I think back that I would never like to experience again, in terms of like having the opportunity to do something, and then because of certain actions you take, you've now taken yourself away from the equation, and now you have to watch it from a distance. Like, I wasn't gonna be like, hey guys, in LA, and but I can still help out. Like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like, cause now I'm just holding people back. I'm just dragging you guys back. And again, this, I don't know if anybody's listening, but for anybody who's on the current team, or was on the current team before the whole pandemic thing, this is not a diss on you guys. If anything, it's awesome seeing that the dance is still happening and whatnot. I th- if I butcher, or if I miss, no, wait, wasn't, oh, I think Brianna, the current main leader,
Yeah, yeah,
whatnot,
yeah.
she helped me out because I needed some footage that I wanted to collect. She was really nice about it.
Mhm.
She even invited me to go out. So I was like, it's cool
Oh,
acknowledging of
that's
some
so cool.
OGs from the original team, whatever, the first. But no, but it was cool. So kudos to them, and I hope they continue to grow. And I see them posting videos up, so that's cool. But still, I think back to like, damn, we could have done like it's one of those like we.
Yeah, I mean, I look, and like you said, it's not a diss to them, but I think about all the things that I wanted to do for Outlaws, and the pushback that I got, and like the non-commitment that I got,
Mm,
and the lack of excitement that I got. And it was kind of just like why aren't you on time for practice? Like, I know senior year I was working and I did the closing shift. So practice started at 9, I closed by 9:45
mm-hmm,
because I was supervisor. So I had to take those shifts. And I would get there, and Maya would be there already, but love her. She knows I love her, but sometimes she just drove me crazy. Um, and it just, I like, the reason when they did their showcase, which I wanted to go, but I didn't, personal reasons, I didn't
mm-hmm.
go. But I still, I was so proud of them. That funding is what I worked with Amaya on the
Yeah,
semester before, because I was trying to push. They wanted to do it. We had talked about it before when like you were here or something. Like it was like something that had always been talked about,
yeah,
not put into fruition. And I took very serious. If you're going to be on the e-board, then we're going to do e-board stuff. Like,
yeah,
let's go. So you're my finance director, whatever it was that she was. I can't remember the exact title. And I made her do the proposal, and I made her go to the meetings and go to Shine and talk about this and what we can get and these costumes and this. Like, and didn't work when I was there. I'm happy that they were able to obviously use that funding that we
yeah,
got approved and the space and all of that the next semester. But it's about growth, you know what I mean? Like I was dealing with a younger team in the sense where I don't look at something that I literally do as like, or I did professionally as like fun time. Like I
yeah,
want it to be fun, but it is work. You know what I mean?
yeah,
There's a reason we were able to go to these concerts for free, because they knew if they did get us to perform, we were gonna bring hot shit. You know what I mean? And I appreciate every single person that was on the team with me and like my teammate when I was co-chair. But I mean, I'm glad that they're doing all that they're doing, because I definitely watch, I definitely follow. I even did like an Instagram story takeover for them. So I really appreciate it. It just, I always think about, like you say, you have your regrets. My regret is not having more people that would have brought those ideas with
mm,
me, because I definitely am an execution. Like I can, I'm an executive. You want to do something, I'm gonna figure out how to do what you want to do. I'm not
yeah,
always like the big idea person. I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I know that. Um, and so I wish that that creativity and that momentum and that like that would have been there when I was there,
yeah,
because it was just a different time at Cuse. It really was. Like I could imagine, not even just thinking about Corona. Like it, if you graduated before 2018, like it was just a different
yeah.
world. Like we were a lot cooler. Sorry, but like we really were.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
think about all those things, you know what I mean? But it's a shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like you can't.
yeah,
It's called like I look at it as like that was me who I was in college. I mean, it's still me, but I'm a grown ass adult that has like a full-time job and
yeah.
stuff like that. And I try to remind myself like, don't get angry about
Mm-hmm,
what you wanted to do 5 years ago. Like I have to just remind myself, I gotta get angry at the people that I work with now, not the people that I worked with then.
mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, yeah, like it's just as a dancer, it's you want to always have content rolling out. And I at the time just didn't understand why they were so unmotivated, but there were times where they were super motivated, not trying to group everybody into a bubble. But it's definitely hard trying to keep momentum up and keep morale up by yourself when
Oh yeah.
I wasn't feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I'm not feeling it because you guys aren't feeling it. And then you're not going to feel it because I'm not feeling it. And it just
Yeah.
felt like this circle. But even if I didn't want to be there, honestly, being there with them, even when they pissed me off and I would yell and they would hate it and they'll be like, damn, like she mad again.
Yeah.
I love them. Like any person that was on Outlaws with, most people, maybe not anybody, but most people that I was on with Outlaws since spring 2016 to spring 2018, like adore them. Adore you if you're listening. But just know sometimes yeah, really got on my nerves. But it's nothing that they don't know. You know what I mean? Like it's not a
Yeah.
lie, it's not shade. Like I was just stressed because I didn't just look at myself as a teammate. as a dancer, like I really looked at myself as an opportunity to try to help build this team up before I left, like even
Yeah.
more so than other people did, you know? And I guess at times maybe I took it too seriously. That's why I say I'm like, you know, that's the shit that I was stressing out about in college. Like, you know what I mean? Like that felt like my whole life. And I'm like, that's not my life. You know what I mean? Like that's not my
Yeah.
life anymore.
Hmm.
Like, and not on the like college team stuff, but I still have like my regrets, or I wish I could have been a nicer leader. But you know what? Mayo was super nice, like too nice. So somebody had to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like somebody had to do it.
No, for sure. It's listen, you dance bums. This is an example of a dancer. Nothing else, just dancer caps, okay? No, but in all seriousness, I get it. Yeah, I know what you mean. And it's like, but I think what I take from it all is like, okay, what didn't I do right? What did I do right? Now, what can I use that experience and apply to? And now I apply it to like this, the show, right? Or future projects that I'm gonna work on with my friends or people who I may
Mhm.
may not collaborate with in the future. So, like you said, you just kind of, it's like you can't get mad at them anymore. Now it's like now you got new people
Mhm.
who it's like, okay, what do I apply this new skill, this new leadership with? But yeah, before I move on to this other question, because I want to know this. Do you still dance? I'm curious.
I do.
Oh, now,
I do.
like casually, or are you part of like a company or dance?
Casually. I did after I graduated, trying to think if I remember correctly. I graduated in 2018 and I took, oh my God, honestly, the years are like going by. I gotta actually look at my Instagram so I know when, but
Yeah.
I did actually rejoin a team for
Oh,
about 6 to 8 months. Sorry, I'm gonna sneeze.
you're good. You're good.
Sorry.
Bless you. You're good.
So the end of 2018, around November, December 2018, I joined another team
Okay.
or another company professionally,
Hmm.
and I was on the pro team and the bachata team. And I did, for personal reasons, decide to leave in
Hmm.
June or no, May of 2019. Um, I no longer felt that it was for me.
Hmm.
Um, like the team aspect, and it is a conniving industry if anybody's really been in it. Like
Hmm.
it's like, as anything could be, but entertainment, you're always going to try to outshine somebody even if
Yeah.
you're working with them. You know what I mean? And I just didn't want to do that anymore. Like I was so tired of that. I don't want to feel like I had to compete for somebody to tell me that I'm good. I want to hear
Hmm.
it, but
Yeah.
if she's good, why can't I be good too? Um, you know what I mean? And so I made the decision that I just didn't want to be in a company, and I stepped away from the company that I was in. But that was a company that I was in with people that I've been dancing since I was 10 years old. A company that had asked me to join it. You know what I mean? Um, so it was a great experience. Like it was a Latin company. That was my first time being very like, though it was the protein was more Latin fusion, it was very salsa based. My skills skyrocketed, you know what I mean? Like, but I now just keep it casual. I'll take a class if I want
Hmm.
to. I dance all the time though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like once a dancer, always a dancer. Like I am constantly with my friends that I dance with. So we're dancing at parties, we're making up choreo randomly in a kitchen at 4 a.m. because we're bored, you know what I mean? Like that's always in me. I'm learning choreo that I see on TikTok or
Yeah.
YouTube or a music video just for fun. Like, you know what I mean? So I always think that I'm gonna stop dancing like 100%, and then it never happens. So
Yeah.
I just, yeah,
Yeah, and I think that dance bug is always. I think it stays with you forever. Like, because I think it's one thing to like
absolutely.
just dance casually, but once you've been part of an environment where it's like dance is life, it's like, oh, well, like I can't get rid of that because I mean, what am I gonna do with like? I always laugh.
Yeah, literally. What am I gonna do with my
Yeah,
inability to sit in a chair when I hear music? Like I gotta
yeah,
do
like
something with it.
yeah,
Like
it's I can't not move, but yeah, it's so yeah. I mean, you answered pretty because I was gonna ask like, is dance? Do you still see it being a part of your life? But it seems like
always.
it is. It always will be. And yeah, I always argue that if there's, even if you feel like you got two left feet, I always argue that if you want something, a creative outlet, I feel like dance is like up there, because it's like really just feel the music. You don't have to be a pro. I
Yeah,
mean, if you are naturally just talented, like cool, awesome. But if you just want to move, just move. I think that helped me a lot, especially in school, for sure. Because I don't know where I'd be if I had not been in some type of environment like that. As hard
same.
and annoying as it was at times, it was. I'm so grateful for all those memories and all those moments. And I met you, and Jay and Hector. So it worked out. It
Exactly.
worked
Yeah,
out.
I would never like all the stress or whatever. Like it was an amazing experience. And it's probably one of the things that really stopped me from leaving Q's because for so long, I just felt like I didn't belong there. And it was my first choice. And
Mm.
I kind of felt like, I chose this school and it's not choosing me back right now.
Ah,
But
okay.
yeah, like it for a very long time through all of my college, like even downright to the end when I was at graduation dinner, felt
Yeah.
like I was struggling to really feel like I did something while I was here. But I look back and for sure feel like I did in the
Mm.
smallest way, you know what I mean? Or the biggest way, like I got something beside the diploma. And that's what I wanted.
No, and it's so fascinating that you actually said that, because I mean, like, it ties in with my conversation with Hector, because we talked about how being, and imagine you're from, like, I guess not necessarily from Syracuse, but you're in that East Coast sector, right? So there's
I'm
still
not even anywhere near Syracuse.
well, no, I
I'm
guess
far out. I'm from New York City, Luis.
oh,
Like
hold on, wait,
Syracuse, New York City, 4 hours of driving.
okay,
I'm not from upstate New York. Like when I tell you, you don't know, but when I tell you upstate New York is like its own different breed of people,
yeah,
like that's why it was so rough. Like I'm literally from New York City.
yeah,
Like you don't get much better than that. You
yeah.
know what I mean?
I
Like
apologize. I did not mean to insult.
yeah,
You
watch yourself because
no, no. I
you
guess
homo.
I guess what it meant is like, I mean, it is 4 hours, but at least it was just 4 hours. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, you still had access somewhat to go home, and it's
Yeah, but
like
I didn't really in the way that people who go away,
every other week.
like an hour, 30
Yeah.
minutes, 15 minutes, yes, I went home. I also was in a relationship. Like I had to put
Hmm.
effort into that. I didn't have a choice. But there were 2 or 3 semesters, I never went home. I was like, if it's not spring break, like I'm not going home. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna be with my friends. I'm gonna hang out, like for sure. And if I was mad at him, I definitely wasn't going home. Like you know what? No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna go
Yeah.
out. I'm
Yeah.
gonna freaking chug some henny. Like I'm gonna live my life. Um, but it still doesn't make you feel less lonely.
Ah,
Like
I
I'm,
see.
not as
Okay.
lonely as people who have to pay, $800 for a plane ticket and stuff like that. But if you don't have a ride home and you really want to go home,
Yeah.
at times I couldn't afford a bus ticket. $50 and I couldn't even afford that. Sometimes $100 round trip and I couldn't even afford that because I paid for my textbooks and my mom did what she could. She, my mom really did pay for 2 years of my college, like she made that sacrifice, like
Hmm.
because Syracuse didn't really give me a lot of money. And so I just feel like it seems so like great, but it's rough. Like it's nothing is
Yeah.
like home, you know what I mean? In general. But that's like as far away from home, unless I'm like in North Dakota, South Dakota type of
Yeah.
just like middle of nowhere land. Like, no, I could not live there. I wanted the
Hmm.
food that I like. It wasn't home.
I
And
see.
so not being home every day and knowing that my home is only 4 hours
Oh,
away
so it's almost even
was like,
worse.
what the
Yeah.
heck? Like it just made it even worse because, and it was also inconvenient. Like, you don't
Hmm.
want to take that bus.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I've taken that
it's
bus.
worse than flying. I would
Yeah.
absolutely, if I had the money, I would have flew back home all the time. You know what I mean? Like a bunch of the rich kids at Q's did.
Yep.
I didn't have that luxury. I was like, I have to check it, freaking 5 to 6 hours on the bus. One
Yeah.
time my bus broke down like 7 times on the way to New York City. I didn't get home until 4 in the morning and I left Syracuse 4 at in the afternoon.
Oh, no.
And when I tell you, I had never been so upset. Like I literally, I was so upset. I couldn't.
Yeah.
But it was great knowing that my mom could take me to college,
Mhm.
but she hated every moment of that drive and back. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's a
it's a lot.
4 hour drive there,
It's
that's
a
a four
lot.
hour drive back. But only 1 year did she not take me
Oh.
because she was in Puerto Rico with my family.
Mhm.
And so my neighbor actually took me. And that was when I really felt it. It was
Yeah.
my junior year. Junior year, I had no friends, like nobody was there. I was like, great. Um, and she literally, her and her boyfriend dropped me off and left. My mom always took me to Walmart and we bought food and like there was this whole
Mm.
process, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? And it was like it felt good. And that was the first semester that I didn't have it. And I was so sad.
Wow.
But it's and
Yeah.
I also went abroad twice. So you know what I
That's
mean? It
right.
was kind of like I've
Yeah.
already been there where it's like you really can't go home.
Mhm.
Even though again, I do know rich kids that did go home. My mom was like, I'm not paying for that plane ticket, are you?
No, and it's crazy because now, I mean, now I know because like, and this was my assumption, right? Like, obviously it's a distance, but I assume, right, if you're from the East Coast and you still go to school in the East Coast, that it's not as bad. But me and Hector, we talked about how, like, I mean, at least I know for the time I was in, for the time he was there, it felt for a while like we don't belong. Like, it felt like we just did not belong there. As hard as we may have worked to get there, or like whether it was a scholarship or you got the grades, whatever it was, it just like, man, I don't belong here. And I'm telling you, if it
And
hadn't been for Outlaws, I probably would have left
I
sooner.
truly I think that it has less to do with location, more to do
Mhm.
with demographics. Because I too did not feel
Yes.
that.
Yes. Yes,
No,
ma'am.
and like I said, I wanted to go to USC. So I probably would have felt like you all the way on the
Whoa.
on the West Coast. But I wanted to go to USC and I found Syracuse right before senior year of high school
Yeah.
and was like, I want to go here. I went to a high school, an all girls high school that I was in that school from sixth grade, no, excuse me, seventh grade to 12th grade because they're middle and high school. And it was an all girls school. Before that, I had only been to one other school, a school that my neighbor went to, my brother went to, my cousins went to. Like my neighbor actually is in the first graduating class of my high school, you
That's
know?
wild.
So and because my community is a small community, it's
Yeah.
big, but it's a small community in that way. And I wanted something bigger. I wanted to be like that small fish in the big sea and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it felt fucking overwhelming. Like it really did. It
Hmm.
really did. It felt like I looked around and I went, who are the people that look like me? Or who are the people that talk like me? Who are the people that have the family background like me? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The economic background like me, the political ideologies. I remember I was a political science major. So, there were certain
Yeah.
things that it was just like, I'm not rocking with you if you can't match me on this certain like thing,
Yeah.
And it was being on the East Coast, yes, great, but the kind of school we went to is not for everybody. You know what I mean? And it's not so much that you can't make it that way because I ended up making it that way. Though I
Hmm.
still feel like I made more party friends and I did like genuine relationships. The you know, two hands of genuine relationships that I did form,
Yeah.
they got me through it. They got me through it. You know what I mean? But Syracuse is not an easy place for people that are in minority groups
Hmm.
for anything, race,
Yeah.
ethnicity, socioeconomic status. Like, even just me coming from a single family household, it was like, wow, so many people have two parents. Like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
you
It's
feel
crazy.
like a minority in every way in a school of 20,000 plus people. The fact that I had to work, you would think that so many people worked on campus. Those jobs are so limited
Yeah.
that like it really is the same. Like I worked the same job from freshman year when I got on campus after Italy. I worked a job at the medical school. Then it was seasonal, so they hired somebody over the summer who kept it. So then I got a new job sophomore year. I worked that sophomore fall all the way till I graduated. There's no, it's you really see the people who do
Hmm.
have to work, or because I did what do when you get it in your aid package,
Yeah.
like that was included. That was the only reason I got
Hmm.
it. There are people who obviously, still had to work, but they didn't have a job. But most people just didn't have to work. The
Yeah.
greater population, not necessarily, the minority population in Q's, but the greater population in Q's didn't have to work. And it was just like, that must be really fucking nice because I'm eating sleep and Tostitos chips for dinner. And it just it
Yeah.
really worked out, and it was just like I shouldn't be struggling at a school that looks like this.
Yeah.
Like this beautiful ass school. I would understand if I'm in New York City and I'm back home scraping from my like $50 a week from tutoring
Yeah.
type of stuff. But
Yeah.
I think I understand definitely what you mean by the West Coast, but my opinion is that school is what it is, for better or for worse.
Hmm.
And it is just a hard school to feel like you belong in. And I think
Yeah.
that, whether you graduated from there or not, my neighbor went to Syracuse and she failed out. And so me going there, and I never even knew that, but me going there, me finishing, like was like, wow, like
Yeah.
at least you could do it. You know what I mean? And that inspired her to go back and get her degree, you know?
Wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
And it's one of those things where it was just like I had no choice but to try to not feel like an outsider.
Yeah.
Even with the people who were also outsiders, I felt like I was an outsider, you
That's
know?
so funny. Oh man. That's fascinating that you said that. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah. That's so crazy. How are we on time? Because I know you said
I got
before.
like 15-ish
Yeah.
minutes.
Okay. So, there. Look, see, I got notes and I had questions, but you know what? I'm gonna save some. I'm gonna save. I have a couple for your next appearance. But what I did want to ask is, essentially, what is it you have going on right now? How is everything? How is life? What you got going on?
It's good. So I'm an event technology coordinator. So this is technically my third position that I've held since graduating, but I am with my same company that I joined last year. I'm working for asset manager, like I sit on that account. Um, so it's been a lot of change, but because it is a smaller account within my company, I feel like
Mhm.
it's given me a lot of room to grow. And I'm kind of excited to see it. Like I was just telling um my dean about one like a month ago how I just didn't feel confident, whatever. And then today, like I was having a conversation and I was just like, I don't think I felt this confident since ever, like ever in my professional post grad life. Um, and I don't know if it's fleeting, it probably is, but I feel so good. Like I feel like I'm capable of doing more.
Yeah.
And I'm the kind of person that's all I've ever wanted, is just to be able to feel like I could do more for myself, more for other people, more. And I don't always know how to do that because I get in my own way. And so I think that this is an opportunity for me to be able to do more professionally and then push that into my personal life. I'm also getting ready to move out. Terrible. Um, but I am in the process of getting ready to move out. I'm going to be moving in with Christopher. Um, and it's scary as hell. Like, I want to live with a boy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's a man, older than me, all of that. You're still a boy. Like,
Yeah.
men are not clean, but yeah, I mean, we've been together for years, so it's time, we're ready. So that's fun. It's a stressful freaking process. I hate real estate. Like, people are so slow, but I'm moving to the Bronx. So I'm sad to be moving out of my neighborhood.
Hmm.
I'm also very interested to see what it's going to be like to not live without my mom, or
Oh, that's
to
right.
to
That's
live
right.
without my mom for the first time ever. Like you go away to college and whatever, but day to day, I've always lived with her my entire life. And since I was 13, it's only been her and I, because that's when my brother moved out. So I'm excited for that, and like being a real adult, even though I'm always at his place and he lives alone.
Hmm.
Um, it's still not my place. So, I'm gonna interior decorate. I
Yeah,
gotta like do
yeah.
all
It's
this
it's
stuff.
your it's your canvas
Um,
now. Yeah,
fucking expensive, but thank God he makes good money because I do not. But
yeah.
no, but
Shout out to Christopher. Yeah.
yeah, shout out to Christopher. But yeah, and then recently I've just really been trying to connect with the people or reconnect because for a very long time I kind of was very distant. Just kind of work on my friendships and really like take them serious and realize the people that want to be in my life
Hmm.
and the lives of the people that I want to be in. You know what I mean? And see how that matches up. And really just trying to work on like figuring out what it is that I want when I want it. I'm not so much worried about having like a X year plan, but I just want to feel content
Mm.
and but also motivated. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. That's what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen. This individual on it every time. When I was being a bum, she'd be like, "Come on, do your work." And yeah, I would continue being a bum, but in the back of my head, I was like, Amanda's always there. Um, but yeah, no, it's so, and I've said this before in previous conversations, but I'm grateful that we still, as limited as it is, we still in contact. Like I said, I think you're for sure like in a group of friends that I can count on my hands. Like I'm glad that you're a part of that circle. Um, and like I've always said, right, whenever you're on the West Coast, you always have a group here.
I'm gonna make my way out there eventually.
No, yeah,
I'm gonna get there.
yeah, and
You
hopefully,
can't rush greatness.
I
When I
know.
go, I'm trying to like go.
I
You
mean,
know what I
look,
mean?
look at who you're talking to. My greatness. I don't even think I'm at my prime yet. I think I'm still working there. But yeah, no, like, and it's so dope that I'm grateful that we still talk. I'm grateful that you're still able to give me time to do stuff like this and
Always.
be special
Please
guest.
have me on more. Like let's get it to the real let's get these mozos
No,
together. Like I'm ready. I'm ready.
no, yeah, but it's like I said, it's just so dope, and hopefully, sooner than later we can get the OG squad together for if it's a
Your
final
lips to
hurrah
God's ears.
or the start of something. Like, yeah, it's hopefully we can make it happen. Um, but yeah, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna close it there because there's still I have a lot, but we're gonna save it. We have more stories.
Gotta save it.
We can,
We
yeah.
gotta put some I gotta put some time on my calendar in
No,
the
no,
next couple of weeks. I gotta get part two. Part
no,
two.
for sure, for sure. And like I said, don't go yet because I still want to take a thumbnail picture after. But as always,
Okay.
thank you so much for joining us, for being the guest today. We appreciate you. Unfortunately, I wish the team could be here, but work schedules and everything gets complicated. But soon enough, you know, we're we're all gonna know each other. Trust me. Freaking, it's crazy with tech what we can do now. But thank you so much, really, from the bottom of my heart. I thank you so much for staying in
Thank you for having
contact
me.
and yeah, being on the show. And people, what did I say? I'm just a great guy who leaves incredible
Really
positive
is. He really
impacts,
is.
on people's lives. But but for everybody who's listening, watching, we appreciate you. We love you. As always, subscribe, turn notifications, drop a like because it helps us with these bigger creators on YouTube. And we'll see where we go from here. As always, shout out to Zendaya. Shout out to Gilly the Answer. And if you guys are looking for a podcast, small podcast to make an appearance on, right here. Humble podcast, humble abode. But thank you so much. Thank you again, Amanda, for being on the show. Everybody, as always, stay safe out there. Times are very strange, but together we can get through it together. As always, stay fat with a PH. Love y'all. God bless. And we see you on the next episode.